Greetings. My name is Drew. You are you, and I thank you for it. And today I'm just going to sit down with you and talk about things that I like. And that sounds pretty generic and maybe boring, but I'm going to do it with some visual aids. One visual aid, in fact. And that is my jacket. This jean jacket. It is one of many. I'm a fan of jean jackets. I like them. They're pretty rad, but this one I bought specifically to just cover in crap that I like. Stuff that makes me passionate, stuff that I won't shut up about if I get started on a conversation about it. And it's kind of a big deal to me for a number of reasons that I'll get into. So here we go. So starting off, just a little backstory here. You know what? I should show you my other jacket. I made one in high school. Hang tight. I'll go get that one. All right. So this isn't my first rodeo. This was a much less cool jacket, but I made this one when I was in high school, around 2000, 2001, 2002, and it doesn't have as many patches. As you can see, I really focused on the whole 80s band thing. Metallica, Van Halen, AC/DC. And then I did some random movies. Planet of the Apes, Goonies, Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and then Ninja Turtles, Batman, a couple other random things. Spinal Tap, Skid Row, Motley Crue, and Bon Jovi. So lots of 80s stuff, and a little bit of Top Gun too. This is Iceman and Sliders logo right alongside Maverick and Goose's logo. And I just dropped a pin. Halloween. I don't know why I have a Halloween pin on here. I'm not particularly passionate about that movie. But anyway, I just kind of covered it in stuff that I liked at the time. Not as many patches as I have on my new one, but the thing was cool and I enjoyed it. I wore this around high school. It was kind of my thing. And Poison, Warrant, White Snake, and Def Leppard. And it was just fun for me. I had my grandmother sew on every patch. And in late 2023, I think, I thought, you know what? I want to do this again. I thought that I would say, all right, maybe I'd do bands over here, movies over here, maybe video games on the back. I was going to be intentional about it. And I also decided to put an arbitrary rule on myself not to duplicate anything. So as much as I wanted to have the standard Ghostbusters patch, because that's super iconic. Like that is a cool patch, and it's the actual patch they have the patch on their outfit. So, but I said, you know what? No, I'm going to do all original stuff. So I have plenty of Ghostbusters patches on here, but not that one. So rather than having any sort of rhyme or reason, I was like, no, it's just going to be random stuff that I like. And that's it. It's just to be a canvas of Drew. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of fell in love with the idea of proudly and unashamedly wearing stuff that I'm super nerdy about. Because there was a time, 97, 96, whatever, where I was super into Star Wars. And around that time, if you wore a Boba Fett t-shirt, for example, which I had, it was a very cheesy Boba Fett t-shirt that had a glow-in-the-dark targeting reticle on it, and then said like bounty hunter for hire, adjustable rates, or great deals, or something like that. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but I got absolutely made fun of it. Because back then there were 3 movies, and that's it. And you couldn't just walk into a random store and have Star Wars merch just available for everybody. It was uncool, and you'd get mocked, and I certainly did. And I never wore the shirt again, after I got made fun of quite a bit for it. And so this is just kind of a little bit of a just salute to my former self, saying like, you know what? No. Granted, I'm now living very privileged in a world where liking Marvel or Star Wars or whatever is not at all what it used to be. So it's not like I'm being all brave and bold, like, yeah, no one's going to make fun of me. No, I don't even care, because no one's going to. It's just not, they don't do that anymore as much. So anyway, I still am proud to wear the stuff that I like, and it makes me happy. And in a way, it is, kind of appreciating that younger version of me that didn't feel like he could. So anyway, Another thing, sorry. I have got so many people that see some of these patches and connect with me on, oh my God, I like that thing. I like that thing. I like that thing. Oh, that, I know that. And granted, I'm an introvert and I don't go around looking for conversations, but there's something cool about just flying your flag, right? And that's absolutely what this is. This is my flag. And it is just a welcome banner to anybody who might be nerdy about the same things I'm nerdy about. So I bought this off of Poshmark used. It is a Levi's acid washed jean jacket. It's moderately new because it is made in Bangladesh. So I know like there's Levi's history where manufacturing changed. So I don't know how old that is. I don't know when they were making stuff in Bangladesh. I have a couple Levi's. This one's Gap. I don't know where that's made. But anyway, the first one I started off with was this large one here on the back. This is the Miyagi-Do Karate logo from the Karate Kid films, the bonsai tree in front of the sun. And then I added these larger ones here. Kind of the big three are on my back. These are my top 3 movies, all-time favorites. Ghostbusters, I have the Ecto 1 and a nice big embroidered patch there that I got from Etsy. And then the Back to the Future DeLorean from the same Etsy creator right above that. And then finally, Karate Kid. So Karate Kid, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters. Top 3. Heck yeah. I'm saving a spot down here. This is one of the more empty spots on my jacket. I want a nice, long, horizontal Living with the Land patch. That's my favorite ride at the Disney World theme park in Epcot. It's a ride about sustainable agriculture, and it's amazing and wonderful, and it makes me very happy. So I really, really want a patch that just says Living with the Land in the logo. It's like a blue and yellow logo. So waiting for that one. But then there's a little Batman right there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. And that's the back. The Ninja Turtles are up there on the top, and I've got all 4 of them. And there's something extra special about these particular Ninja Turtles here, in that these logos, or not these logos, but this style of Ninja Turtle art is these are the turtles from the video game from the 90s, Turtles in Time. There was an intro cinematic in the arcade and in the Super Nintendo version that I played where the turtles kind of get introduced before you kind of start the game, and it showed little freeze frames of these icons and showed the names of the turtles. So that's what these are from. They're from the Super Nintendo game Turtles in Time, which is awesome. All right, we can go down one of the sleeves now, and we'll just kind of make our way around here. Up on my, let's say, right shoulder, the Mass Effect. This is a video game series. This is the Alliance Navy logo. These are the good guys, more or less, of the series. And nice big old blue Mass Effect thing. I think that's pretty cool. It's a great series. Definitely in my top 15 games, I think. It's close. I think they were position number 15, if I remember. So I don't know. They might get the boot, but I still do very much love it, and I think it's a really cool patch. And then we've got Foxhound. So this one right here is a logo from Metal Gear Solid, a PlayStation 1 game. And this is kind of... This is a military organization, a fictional military organization that the main character used to be a part of, but is no longer a part of. Now it's just made up a bunch of crazy bad guys that you have to fight, but it's still a cool logo. And then Cyberdyne Systems right here. For anybody who has ever seen a Terminator movie, you don't want to see this logo. This is bad. They actually created AI that took over the Earth on Judgment Day, 1997. So get ready. In 1997, the robots are taking over. Do what you need to do to prepare for Judgment Day. Anyway, now, not as many band patches on this jacket, but I did get Survivor on here. Survivor is one of my favorite 80s bands. Lesser known, they've got some good songs, such as, High on You, Moment of Truth, of course, Eye of the Tiger. It's one of their most famous ones. Eye of the Tiger was sang by their original lead singer, whom I'm not a huge fan of. Jimmy Jamison, their second singer, has the most amazing voice, and he was actually the one that toured with the band the most and sang that song the most. So if you need to listen to Eye of the Tiger, listen to their 2006 remaster version of the Eye of the Tiger. That's the real version. That's the Jimmy Jamison version. That's the good stuff. Love Survivor. Probably my favorite band. All of their songs are about, like, rocky moments, like Triumph of the Human Spirit and all that. It's just such a positive vibe band. Crawling up the sleeve here, we've got Monkey Island. This is an old LucasArts point-and-click adventure game for the old PC. Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Well, the first Monkey Island was called The Secret of Monkey Island. All of them are great. All of them are funny. The writing is hilarious. The graphics and music is super, and they're just fun to play. Love Monkey Island. This one says Ka, which is Stephen King's Dark Tower slang for fate, essentially. Stephen King's Dark Tower is a 7-book series, all very good, all very bizarre, but gripping, super gripping. I'm not a huge book reader, like paper book reader. I do audiobooks. That kind of keeps me engaged a little bit more. But the Dark Tower series was the first the first novel series to really just grab me and not let me go. And that's not easy to do with this brain. It takes a lot of weirdness to really capture me in print form. And this did it. So I love the Dark Tower. I've read them multiple times. I've listened to them all the way through. Well, actually, no, I haven't listened to them all the way through. I'm at Song of Susanna, the second to the last one. So I've almost listened to them all the way through. But both audio version and book version, very, very good. Highly recommend. Bird here. This is Nightwing's logo. Nightwing is Dick Grayson from DC Comics, formerly Robin. He was the original Robin to Batman's, dynamic duo. He broke away, became his own dude, became Nightwing, and he's rad. He's like Batman, but more relatable. So that's awesome. Over here, you've got Ryu Hayabusa. He's from the Ninja Gaiden series. This exact piece of art here is one of kind of the stills from the opening, I don't know if you want to call it cinematics, but storyboard, I guess, from the original Nintendo Entertainment video game, Ninja Gaiden. So super cool there. It fit in really well there at the bottom of my sleeve. And then this one's one of my favorites, Pizza Hut. This is an actual patch from, an old uniform, probably like 70s or 80s. So this was a gift by my good friend, Catherine Palmisano. This made me so happy because I wanted it so bad. I also got this pin. Big fan of Pizza Hut. I just like the whole vibe, but I wanted one that looked like this. There's another newer Pizza Hut logo that had like a little bit more of a angled look with a little swipey dot over the eye. This is the one I wanted though. So very, very in love with that one. Nightwing was the only patch that I have since relocated. I sewed all of these by hand, every single one of them, questionably well, but Nightwing used to be on my chest and I moved it down here. I'll show you what took it over here in a second. Oh, and I missed this one. We've got a Mythosaur skull. This is from the Mandalorian world, first shown on Boba Fett in The Empire Strikes Back, but then later created with a lot more lore behind it as the Star Wars expanded universe spread out. And in The Mandalorian season 3, we finally got a little bit of an actual look at a Mythosaur too. Spoiler alert. All right, moving over to the chest. This is one of the first patches I added, the Star Wars Rebel Alliance symbol. Classic logo for good guys. Can't go wrong with that. And of course, the best Muppet ever made, and someone that I personally identify with a lot in just kind of temperament, demeanor, and I very much identify with Kermit the Frog. I love him to death. He's good. He is wholesome. He is pure. He always wants to do the best for his friends. He tries to keep things together, but also he doesn't hide when he just loses everything entirely. And sometimes I think we all feel like the whole Kermit, and that's he's a great guy. We have a Disney monorail here on the top of the pocket. This makes me happy because it makes me think of the most magical place on earth. And one of these days I'm going to memorize the Spanish instructions on, please stand clear of the doors. Don't have it in there yet, but I want it in my brain. It's if I ever only know one bit of Spanish, I want it to be that. And then this is the Joker from 1989's Batman. So in the 1989 Batman film, all of Joker's goons, like Bob the Goon, wore purple bomber jackets with 2 patches on them. One was a series of playing cards, and that one was located on one shoulder. And this Joker was located on the opposite shoulder. And it just looked super cool. I was like, I want the Goon patch on my jacket. And there we go. Got the Joker Goon patch. And then up here in a little bit of the armpity region, I have 2 license plates. One that says Out of Time, and one that says Ecto-1. Out of Time being the license plate on the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and Ecto-1 obviously being on the Ectomobile or Ecto-1 from the Ghostbusters movies. In the first movie, it was Ecto-1. In the second movie, it was Ecto-1A. And when I got my first car, a 1986 Crown Victoria, I thought, you know what? If there was a third movie, I bet it would be Ecto-1B. So I got Ecto-1B as my first license plate. It was just a white Crown Victoria, not exactly my 1959 Mercury Meteor Cadillac station wagon ambulance hearse, but it did the job, and I was very proud of it. And then Brave Star. So this was a cartoon, like 88, I think, somewhere around there. Only ran for one season, but it was about a Native American cowboy who had the strength of the bear, the speed of the wolf, the speed of the puma, and the eyes of the hawk. Not in that order. And it was rad. He was awesome, and he had a horse named 3030 who had metal arms and legs, and it could stand up and shoot a bazooka. He was really cool. Awesome, beautiful backgrounds, classic 80s animation, super rad show. Go check it out. And I don't often meet people who know what Brave Star is, but when I do, it's an exciting event. So this is another one of those patches where every now and then someone's like, oh, Brave Star. I'm like, what? You like Brave Star? Oh, best friends. All right. And then I've got my ally hearts here. Just a nice LGBTQ plus ally symbol here that says, hey, you're cool. Come give me a hug. I don't know. But I wanted something on here that just said, hi, you're cool with me. I'm cool with you. Hooray. Nice knowing you. Nice seeing you. I see you. All that good stuff. So there we have that. We have Sub-Zero over here. He is facing down Scorpion, both ninjas from Mortal Kombat. Scorpion's on the other side. We'll get to him in a second. But they are looking at each other, ready to do battle, as they have done for quite a while. Multiple Sub-Zeros, in fact, have fought Scorpion. And then finally, we have Mario. This is from Mario 3, from the regular Nintendo, the Nintendo Entertainment System. And he is in a boot. And I'm like, you know what? I should have Mario. Classic Mario. But the boot is an under-recognized, underappreciated version of Mario. You've got Tanuki Mario, Frog Mario, Cat Mario, Raccoon Mario, of course. Lots of different versions of Mario. And a lot of them have endured. A lot of them has showed back up. And this one hasn't, I don't think. Like the boot Mario, I think he only showed up. You could only get in a boot in like maybe it definitely won maybe 2 levels in Super Mario Bros. 3. And there's a name for the boot. I always forget about it. It's somebody's boot. But yeah, it's just a green boot you hop into. There's a Goomba in it. You got to kick him out and take his boot. And then you're good to go. You go stomp people. So I have the boot Mario. And it's a wind-up boot. That's what this thing is. It's a little wind-up green boot. Mario jumps in it and stomps on people. Makes me really happy. And moving on to the other side, we've got another 2 big ones. So to kind of complement the Rebel Alliance symbol and the Kermit, I have the Green Lantern symbol and Mega Man. Mega Man is, of course, the titular character from the massive video game franchise from Capcom. And this is kind of the 1-up logo. If you pick up one of these, you have an extra life, which is great because all of the Mega Man games were really hard and punishing and awful. But I love them all the same. This is a piece of meat. This is a pot roast from, I think they call it a pot roast, or just a roast from the Castlevania series. Like a few different adventure games back in the 80s, if you hit a random wall, maybe the wall would break and maybe there would be some meat hiding in it that would replenish your hearts. Well, not in the case of Castlevania, hearts don't actually replenish your life, they're weapon energy, which makes no sense. But regardless, this does replenish your health and often found in walls or blocks or whatever. But you know what? If you're in a castle and you whack a wall and there's some meat behind there, you know it's a good thing to just go ahead and eat it. Mystery meat in video games is always good for you. So it's just there to remind me, if I ever find wall meat, I should eat it. Because those games they're not going to lie, right? So this Green Lantern is special to me because this is a very specific type of Green Lantern logo. It is the logo from Kyle Rayner, who was the Green Lantern in the early mid-90s. After Hal Jordan went crazy, stole a bunch of rings, and became Parallax, Kyle Rayner was the 90s Green Lantern. He was my Green Lantern when I grew up. A lot of folks say that Hal Jordan was the best Green Lantern, and you know what? That's fine. They can say that. But Kyle Rayner, this is my Green Lantern. So this is the patch the symbol that he adopted, which was slightly different than kind of the classic Green Lantern logo. So, boom, I got Kyle up there. Kyle was a cool Green Lantern because he was very creative with his constructs. He was an artist. He was like, kind of a stereotypical 90s, Portland artist sort of guy. And so he would come up with like samurais and manga warriors and things like that. So all of his Green Lantern constructs were a lot more interesting than a standard boxing glove and catcher's mitt that you would see Hal Jordan create. Anyway, boom, boom, boom. This one's one of the most interesting ones here. This is Ghostbusters. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is Filmation's Ghostbusters. So, quick little story here. When Ghostbusters released in 1984, Columbia TriStar, whatever, had to reach out to the company that owned this name, Ghostbusters, and say, hey, can we use this for our movie? Because you created a black and white, serialized TV series featuring two guys and a man in a gorilla costume, and you called it Ghostbusters. So obviously no one cares about that, but still we need to make sure we can use your name. They're like, yeah, sure, go for it, whatever. The movie was super successful, and the guys who still owned the term Ghostbusters was like, well, maybe we should make a cartoon about Ghostbusters, meaning our Ghostbusters, the ones with the two dudes in the gorilla. And they did. And that's what this logo is from. And me being a kid obsessed with Ghostbusters, I was like, okay, cool, Ghostbusters. Yeah, let's watch this. And I thought it was fine. I wasn't ever like, well, this sucks. This isn't my Ghostbusters. I liked them both. There was another cartoon that was based on the characters from the 1984 film called The Real Ghostbusters, because at that point, these folks had beat them to the punch on the cartoon, and they had to call themselves The Real Ghostbusters. So, yeah. So it's a nice little bit of trivia. But here's another one. If someone sees this logo and they know this, they're like, oh, hey, that's that other Ghostbusters, right? I'm like, yes, it is. Well done. High five me, please, and thank you. And then we've got this nice little pink thing here. This is the hoverboard from Back to the Future 2 and 3. So the Mattel hoverboard that Marty McFly stole from a couple little girls. Well, granted, later they said that he could keep it. So I guess it was an initial steal, but a later trade because she had a pit bull hoverboard. And here we have Scorpion. So he opposite Sub-Zero, facing him down in his standard kind of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 pose there. And then here at the bottom of my left jacket bottom is a High C logo, namely Ecto Cooler. If you were a kid in the early 90s, late 80s, you drank some of this. It was a tangerine flavored High C drink with Slimer on the front, and it was delicious. So, nice little bit of nostalgia there. That makes me quite happy. All of these bring me joy. And as you can see, I have no shortage of words to say about them. And then up here, they're a little hard to see, but these little symbols are from The Witcher. And I believe specifically the Witcher 3 video game, but it's utilized elsewhere. In the series The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, can use signs, which are little kind of like easy bits of magic. He's not a magician, but he can dabble, and this is him dabbling. The Witcher signs can create kind of basic spells like, fire, protective shield, burst of wind, or mind manipulation, things like that. So that's what these are. And they are kind of vertical in kind of complement to my Pride Hearts over here. So they match up nice and well. All right. Kind of moving across here. We have some Capcom things going on. We have both the Life Bar from Mega Man X. See the X? So Mega Man X was the Super Nintendo version of the Mega Man franchise. There was one or two Mega Man, just regular Mega Mans on the Super Nintendo, but really the franchise, the sequential order was Mega Man X, who's essentially the same guy, but a different robot from the future, and he could have armor and stuff, and oh my god, the music was so good. All the Mega Man X music all the Mega Man music is fantastic, but Mega Man X, oh, so good. And then just the Capcom logo, because again, Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man. If you saw this logo pop up and you heard that, you knew you were in for a good time. Whether it was Aladdin or Mega Man or a number of any other games, like Capcom made good stuff. Like everything was gold in the Super Nintendo days. This was just like a symbol of a good time, symbol of quality. Couldn't go wrong with something made by Capcom. I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure they made some stinkers, but from what I had seen, it was a thumbs up. It was a green light. Play this game. And then right here, we've got a logo from Assassin's Creed. This is a video game franchise that now is, goodness gracious, on their bazillionth video game. But this one, I've played a lot of them, most of them, in fact. I wanted to pick one that kind of represented the best time I've ever had on an Assassin's Creed game. And I went with this one. This one's got a skull in it because this is from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4, which is a very stereotypical favorite to choose. But it's the pirate one. And you essentially play as an assassin from this ancient order of assassins, but you also play as just a pirate. And this video game captivated me because of the visuals, the sea battles, and the pirate shanties that were sung on the ship. Just what an experience. It just was such a environmentally fun game, and it was just a blast. There have been a ton of really fun Assassin's Creed games, very rich in story and environment, traversal, just a great franchise. But this one really represented, a massive holy crap moment for me. Firehouse is another band from the 80s, originally I think from the Virginia, North Carolina area, and they have a bunch of good songs. One song in particular, Love of a Lifetime, my wife and I saw live them perform, and it was kind of our song. I proposed in the parking lot of Olive Garden while that song was playing. I had it queued up in the car, and I just kind of had it there. Listen, I know it's not romantic, but we were living together for years, and at that point, I had no money. If I went out someplace romantic, she'd know exactly what was happening, because we talked about it. We knew we were going to get married. We'd been living together forever. And I said to her, I was like, all right, we know we're going to do this. Do you want the proposal to be romantic and picturesque, or do you want it to be a complete surprise? Because honestly, I don't think I can do both. She's like, oh, surprise, just whatever. Okay, great. Random Olive Garden parking lot. I'll get into it. Maybe she and I will talk about that one another day on another episode. But this, I queued up Love of a Lifetime, and she turned around to the back seat and was talking to one of her friends, like, oh my God, this is our song. If we ever get married, this is what's going to play, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, I was down on one knee, ready to go, and she just lost it. I don't even think I got to ask anything. But anyway, it was fun. But this also played at our wedding. We had two friends of ours on acoustics, and we walked down to the aisle with Love of a Lifetime playing. So Firehouse is not only a rad band, but it has some nice memories associated with me and my favorite person. And then we have this one, Day of the Tentacle. This is another one. This is opposite the other arm where I had Monkey Island. Day of the Tentacle was another LucasArts adventure game, point and click game for the DOS system back in the day. Really fun game. The sequel to Maniac Mansion, if anybody ever played that, but it's a really fun game. Great visuals, really catchy and fun and hilarious story. And then this one. This is the dragon symbol of the Green Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with the Green Ranger and the White Ranger and the Pink Ranger, like a lot of us were. And this also is a little bit more representative of a very fleeting connection I made with Jason David Frank, who played the Green Ranger and the White Ranger. This was years ago. I noticed on Instagram he was journaling, and I reached out to him randomly on Instagram and said, like, hey, do you want to use a fountain pen? Do you want a journal? And he's like, actually, I would love to try one of those. And so I sent him a white tiger, of course, because he was the white tiger Zord when he turned white after the Green Ranger. Pilot Metropolitan. I sent him a TWSBI, a new Lloydstrom notebook in red, because he was also the Red Ranger at one point. And he sent me back videos thanking me. He sent me back autographs, comic book autographs, a cell from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, videos of just thanking me. And I just, as a kid, I would have never have thought about that being a possibility. My grandmother took us to the mall one time, me and my brother, to get an autograph from him. And this was like 93, 94. Power Ranger, momentum was at its peak, and the mall was just packed. We couldn't even find him. It was just crazy. I was crying because we couldn't find him, and my grandmother needed to be back at her house. She was a seamstress. She had somebody coming in to try on a wedding dress, and we had to leave, and I never saw him. So knowing that this kind of like, I was Drew, from '93, dude, that's okay. You got to not only meet him, you got an autograph, you got a personalized video. The sad thing was a couple years ago, he took his own life, which is super sad. And he was just a really cool guy from everything I was able to see. Big into the Comic-Con scene, super accessible, and really took time out of his day to thank me for, the generosity. And it was very, very memorable for me. So little Green Ranger token right there. And of course, as you've seen by some of the other patches, I'm a big fan of the original Nintendo Entertainment System. So nice NES controller there at the bottom of the sleeve. And that is that sleeve. Oh, wait, nope. Up on the sleeve, we've got this is a Mudhorn skull from The Mandalorian. If you've seen Mandalorian Season 1, you know what this is. This is Din Djarin's Mudhorn logo, which became sort of his tribe symbol. So that is complementing the Mythosaur skull on the opposite thing. I tried to be a little symmetrical with my placement, and yeah, I think it works. And then, I forgot this one. This one was right above Capcom. This is not Rapture, but this is the lighthouse above Rapture, which is a fictional city in the BioShock series of video games, BioShock and BioShock 2 specifically. The lighthouse represents the entry point for the underwater city of Rapture, which is kind of a Randian, dystopian, sort of fictional, post-apocalyptic a little bit city. Not apocalypse, but the whole city had fallen into, I don't even know how to explain it. Disrepair is not enough. Catastrophe, I don't know. It's a great game, amazing series, some of the best storylines in gaming, both in BioShock 1, BioShock 2, BioShock 3. They're all fantastic for a bunch of different reasons. All three of them can stand on their own merits, but this is just a little BioShock symbol there. And then finally, up at the top of my shoulder, this is my left shoulder, is the Endurance logo from the second mission that was sent out in the movie, not Inception. That's another one of Christopher Nolan's movie, Interstellar. Interstellar is a phenomenal movie. Amazing in its ability to communicate something very complicated to someone very, very not smart. So I love the way Nolan was able to construct his story. And this is another example of a patch that was actually used like on someone's uniform, kind of like the Ghostbusters things were. So they actually wore this on the second. The first mission was Lazarus, and so they had a patch, but the second mission was Endurance, and that was this patch. So great movie. One of my favorites. And then finally, to complement the Foxhound logo, this is another Metal Gear Solid logo. This one started being used in Metal Gear Solid 3, which was called Snake Eater. So the Fox logo was the predecessor of Foxhound. So I've got Fox here, I've got Foxhound on the other side. So this was the original team, and then later it was, I guess it evolved into Foxhound. So I've got this one on this sleeve, Foxhound on the other sleeve. I'm a big fan of the Metal Gear Solid video game series. I've played them all, love them all. They've, again, just like Assassin's Creed, they've all got their own highlights, and something's really cool and special about every game in the series. All right, now we're over to the back of the jacket. This is the left side of the jacket. And up at the top, we have this gentleman. This gentleman's name is Glenn, and you might notice he is a frog. Yes, his name is also Frog. So in Chrono Trigger, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, one of the best, yes, if not the best RPGs of all time. Again, phenomenal music. Oh my God. But Frog is one of the coolest characters in the game. A very iconic character. He's a frog. He's a knight. He gets the job done. Wielder of the legendary Masamune blade. And there he is holding it aloft, which he does to kind of split a mountain in half, kind of early-ish in the game. And wanted to just have him up there, because it makes me think of his theme song, which always makes me feel good. And this game holds up. So really, you can play this game at any time, and it will be enjoyable for you. Speaking of something that's always enjoyable for you, Taco Bell. This, again, just makes me happy. This jacket's full of just things that bring me joy. And Taco Bell always brings me joy. Whether it's the cold crisp of a Baja Blast, the delicious car-friendly crunch of a Crunchwrap Supreme, or 5 to 6 regular tacos being eaten in a hotel at the San Francisco Pen Show when you are starving after your luggage has been lost. It just makes everything better. Taco Bell is always there for me when I've ever needed it. So here it is. I'm flying that flag. And then finally, this might look like a butthole because it is. This is a flag from the TV show Community, and it says E pluribus anus on it because in the TV show, they basically pranked their community college into putting an anus on their school flag, and it worked. So, yeah, I have an anus on my jacket. But Greendale Community College, boom. Actually, it doesn't say E pluribus anus on it. The flag on the show does, but this one just says Greendale Community College. And Community is one of the best sitcoms ever created. In 2010, NBC had Community, it had Parks and Recreation, it had The Office, it had 30 Rock, and those 4 shows are absolutely incredible. There will never be, like since 2010, there will never be a year that has that much incredible content on network TV. That was the last greatest year of sitcom comedy, in my opinion. So, Community, I think it's my personal favorite of those shows, though 30 Rock, Office, Community, Parks and Rec, they're all phenomenal. But anyway, I wanted Community on there because they're great. And then this one is the Shinra Electric Power Company, the antagonistic corporation in Final Fantasy VII, which is a near and dear game to my heart. They're the baddies, but there wasn't really a very easy, concise logo that I could have used to represent the good guys in this game. So it's just basically my Final Fantasy VII patch. I do not condone the actions of the Shinra Electric Power Company, nor should you. But also, it's subtle. I didn't want to be too obvious with a lot of these patches. And if someone notices this, they're gonna be like, is that a Shinra patch? You a Shinra boy? I'm like, no, I'm not. I like the game, but no. So yeah, going to go in with a little subtle and action on that one. And then over on the other, this is if you're looking at my back, the right side of my back, right here, Wayland Yutani Corporation. Again, not a fan of their practices. If you've ever watched the Alien series, you know that Wayland Yutani, or just Wayland, depending on what part of the timeline you're interested in, not good. Not a good group of people there. They are duplicitous. They are slimy. They are scandalous and untrustworthy. They're not ever good. But I can't really I guess, I could have gotten like a Nostromo patch, I guess. But anyway, this one fits really nicely right here. It almost takes up the entire width of these 2 seams. So it really did work. So sorry. But yeah, Wayland Yutani, Aliens 2, all the aliens. Some form of this corporation is involved in all of the bad things that are happening usually. And then here we kind of have another Rebel Alliance symbol. This is Sabine Wren's symbol from Star Wars Rebels that later kind of turned into the Rebel Alliance logo. You can see it's kind of like a phoenix, firebirdy sort of thing. She created this for, her own armor, her little Mandalorian armor, and then it, eventually molded and shifted into the big red Rebel Alliance logo. So I was a big fan of Star Wars Rebels. I didn't really think it was going to be that great. I'd watched Clone Wars before, and I was like, all right, this is going to be more of the same. It was not. I felt like it was better than Clone Wars. It was gripping. I didn't know what was going to happen to the characters. Like Clone Wars, Anakin, Obi-Wan, I kind of know what's going to happen with those guys. But these characters, I did not know. And for such a big chunk of Star Wars content where I knew nothing about everyone's fate, I feel like that was really unique and fresh. And I also think that that's kind of what made Rogue One so good. Is like, I don't know what's going to happen to these folks. I don't even know who they are. So, it kind of grips you in a different way. So big fan of Star Wars Rebels, so I wanted to get that patch on there. Waffle House. If you've watched me for more than an hour or spoken to me for more than 5 minutes, you know I'm a fan of Waffle House. So not much to say here. Huge fan. Just like Taco Bell, they've never let me down. And then this one, I did have a Van Halen patch on my last jacket, but I found this one and I really liked it. I finally got to see Sammy Hagar in concert for the first time last year. And even as he approaches 80, he was fantastic. And yes, I prefer Sammy Hagar over David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth is a great showman, absolutely. And I think for his songs, he was the right person. But Sammy Hagar is a better musician. Just going to say it. And then Sabaton. This is another band. Love this band. This is a heavy metal band from Sweden, I think. They sing about military engagements, pretty much. That's all they do. and I learn stuff from them. They're fun songs, and I just really dig it. So if you ever wanted to, if you're a fan of history and metal, Sabaton is the band for you. And then another Ghostbusters patch, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Not much to say about that, but here he is. Old Mr. Stay Puft. And that is it. I don't think I'm missing anything. So that's my jacket. And again, it makes me really happy to just kind of fly this flag. And I enjoy talking to people about it. And as much as I don't want to be noticed, usually in public, like I'm not an attention-seeking person. But when it comes to stuff I'm nerdy about, like I want to talk about my nerd stuff. So I enjoy it. Oh, I missed one. Dick Tracy from the Warren Beatty film. I just really like this logo. I was Dick Tracy one year when I was a kid for Halloween. I thought Dick Tracy was super cool. I always wanted his little communicator wristwatch. And the logo for the movie from the early 90s is just a really, really sweet logo. So I put that on there. All right. That's definitely it. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you are nerdy about any of these, or if you just enjoy any of these, or if you want to just chat about any of these, I am all ears. And I would honestly love to know, what is a thing, a franchise, a movie, a video game, anything. What is something that you will always jump in and talk about, given the chance? If you overhear somebody talking about like, oh, you know what, I like Dick Tracy, you'd be like, oh, hey, hold on, Dick Tracy? Someone said, did you know that Paul Sorvino was in that movie? Like, I want to know what you will always jump in on, because this jacket pretty much represents things I will always jump in on. If someone says something about Castlevania or Mega Man X or Ecto Cooler, like, oh, you like Ecto Cooler? You know, I like Ecto Cooler. So it can be, it's just really great to, even if you don't ever talk to a person, seeing somebody that very clearly likes something that you also like is welcoming, it's friendly, it's connective, and I want to be that. If I can fly my flag a little bit and let somebody else know that, like, hey, I'm into that too. I don't know. I think it's just kind of comforting. The more chances we get to know that we're not alone, and to know that we're not the only one that likes a certain something or is passionate about a certain something, it's really cool. And that's something I learned from, being immersed in the fountain pen world, is that when you go to a fountain pen convention, like, this is a very small niche of a hobby. And when you attend one of these events, you are suddenly surrounded by hundreds of people who are passionate about this thing that in your little friend group, you're probably the only one that's passionate about. And there's something really, really delightful and special and magical and emotional about knowing that you are a part of something. And as special as that is, I wanted to just make sure that, like, you know what? I want to, even if one person kind of picks out on one thing and they just be like, oh, that thing, cool, man, or just mentally thinks it and they don't even say anything. I appreciate that, because I appreciate it when other people do it. When I see somebody with a shirt of a band that I like or whatever, and just, like, I don't know, it makes me smile, because it makes me think of the things that I like. And when we think of the things we like, it makes us happy. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I don't have much room on there, maybe one or two other patches, but I will, that's basically done. So anyway, I enjoy wearing it. It's not the most comfortable thing, honestly. It's still a little scratchy. This is a very comfortable jean jacket, this one that I have here. It's much lighter too. But I still love this one to death, and I still wear it the most when I can. So anyway, if you have any thoughts, questions, curiosities, please leave them in the comments. And I'll be back again soon to talk about more randomly nerdy stuff. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate you. Keep being you, and I'll see you soon.